Hi, Mike here. Time to walk back a comment I made last night about the economy collapsing. It might not. The one thing that now there'll be a hiccup because there's way too much money in the capital markets, and it's going to have to come down. I mean, we're about to test whether capitalism is its own worst enemy, as Marx said, but we're still waiting. So. Yeah, there's going to be a correction at least. A panic, no, because as the pandemic showed us, there are now mechanisms in place that will prevent financial problems from becoming a full-on economic crisis. So, and those were never repealed. So. There is hope that the next financial hiccup will be saved by Dodd Frank, and and wise folk in finance. So if there's not going to be any talk anymore of not paying the debt. Okay, because the Democrats won't use that as a bargaining chip, and the Republicans, when they're in control, suddenly like deficits. So, because the reality is deficits fuel Wall Street. The debt does, because the not only do you have to produce enough debt to fund net interest on the debt, but also to provide more liquidity for stable investments, so that the unstable investments can be funded, the crap. So eventually, debt's got to grow. So yeah, that's there. It may not all go to hell. We'll see. There'll be a blip though, and they will. At some point, the world's going to say, "America, cut your debt." And the only place to cut it is taxing capital assets more, particularly gains. So, and that's possible. An asset value added tax of between 20 and 26% on transactions rather than portfolios, which is actually a win for short-term traders because it's a small win. If you make gains and no losses, then you pay 37%. But you can book your losses against your gains. An asset value added tax means no subsidizing losses. So I think 26% is a good rate. If we do that, they can change Obama care taxes from and go to an employer paid tax. There'll be a subtraction that, as I've talked about before, that will fund a larger child tax credit and health insurance, and that would, and including what's used for Obamacare, and it needs to be more generous too, because Obamacare is a raw deal right now. I tried to go on it, and the out of pockets were just horrendous, and the premiums were horrendous. So, I've got concepts of a plan. I actually have a plan, so call me. So that's finance, that's health, abortion. Donald Trump is now unchained. He does not have to pretend he's pro-life, and he wants to bring the country together. Well, the way to bring the country together is to get rid of both NARAL's and the Right to Life movement's funding sources, which are because of the conflict. So it's the perfect storm where an actual pro-choice president who doesn't have to worry about reelected and who needs to bring the country together will actually see this as some way to win the Nobel Prize, which he would win. And the answer, of course, is fetal hospice, which solves everybody's issues. When fetal hospice becomes and no slice and dice abortions where that is will, would be, when can a child be produced? When can labor actually happen? Before that point, abortion will be legal. After that point, the only acceptable abortion will be induction / fetal hospice. We've got to talk Trump out of the fact that not giving care to somebody who's terminal is not a murder. It's just, it's actually what the Catholic Church says to do. Now, the Catholic Church needs to stress that. So, that'll take some doing, but Trump needs to, they owe Trump. They owe Trump. So, we'll see what he can pull together. Big winner, Elon Musk. We are going to Mars. Yeah, big time. And, we're going to be there's only one place that he can get more folk, and that's to cannibalize the defense industry. Yay! Because the defense industry to be cut always meant the space industry had to increase. Engineers aren't going to go, aerospace engineers aren't going to, become, design things for farmers, and because there's already people doing that, and they've pretty much almost automated the entire farming process. So, the warming deniers, well, the people in the states that are warming out of control are red. So, although Arizona, yeah, well, how did Arizona go? Arizona's going to, Arizona's going to, last I heard, Trump was winning Arizona. And, global warming is unsustainable in Arizona. So, the science now needs to not talk about models and predictions, but needs to talk about what's happening now. And I've talked about that. So if anybody is really concerned about what's happening now, look in the Sociology and Environment Journal. I will be submitting an article soon as to how to get something passed and what it should be. So, you've got to have something that's affordable for people to buy electric vehicles, and right now it's not. So, the vast majority of people need to get a system like tethered electric that everybody can afford. So, that's the easy solution. The question is whether you can do it through the roadbed instead. It's promising. It's more expensive than an overhead tether, and with a roof on the deck too. That would be rather nice. So, throw enough money at the problem, it'll be solved. That's what we've learned. That's why the technological revolution happened. It's not because we're any better at figuring things out. We didn't learn anything. We now know how to raise money and throw money at problems. That's the solution to technical issues. So, and if the technical issues are solved, the social issues tend to fall in line. So, have hopes. So, yeah, Ukraine. I agree with Trump. Was giving up a little territory to stop war. Was the solution, and they didn't want it, and Trump wanted to get Ukraine. Now, we can't solve Russia's problem for them. The Russian people have to realize that they don't need to live in a fear culture anymore, and have and get some unity and overthrow their own problem, because we can't do it for them, and not even Zelensky can do it for them. And shuffling the deck among the hawks, that's not going to work either, which is what basically Trump is one of those hawks, and there's somebody said that there's 150 intelligence people that took over the Kremlin, and they're dying off. So we're going to see what happens with that. But you can't live in a police state forever. Although Russia's spent 100 years trying, so maybe you can, but Russia's losing population and will be, a settlement zone if anybody wants Russia. That's the thing. Nobody's going to invade Russia because nobody wants that part of the world. It's like that's why nobody lives there. Nobody wants to live there. It's like when I know nobody lives in Canada. You know, California has about the same number of people as Canada. And I'm sure, and that may be uninhabitable too because of warming. So, yeah. So, but yeah, Donbass will probably be Russian territory, but maybe not. There's enough weaponry for Zelensky to win that war. He's just gonna have to win quickly. So before they can cancel the money, Biden's got to put all that aid out the door before the 20th of January. So I mean, it really has to just be rushed. So yeah. Now on the insurrection, well, that'll be another video because it's going to take a little time to explain that one. But yeah, Elon Musk wins. Putin doesn't win because he's going to be just gone. Oh, minimum wage. Yeah, minimum wage has to go up. In fact, it probably has to go up to at least $13 an hour, if not more. 13 with an inflation booster every year, preferably on a dollar basis rather than a percentage basis. Is what the Donnie Bros are going to demand. They put him in office, and they're going to need money. Also, child tax credit. They want to be able to have families. Child tax credit has to be enough so that people can survive. Latinos and whites. Trump is picking men off, and the men have to be able to support their families. So, and that means high child tax credits. There's a compromise on the table. They need to pass it. They need to pass the border control bill, so that Trump doesn't have to backtrack on it. Well, I think I'd leave it for him to sign, but it needs to pass first. Yeah, and Biden can take deportation off the table by pardoning anybody who would be deported for any criminal action relating to their entry into the country. So can't be an illegal alien if you're pardoned. So that was the video that I'm not taking back. So the next video will be about the trial, but yeah. Donald, call me if you want to be as great a president as you think you can be. I actually have some solutions that you want to hear, but you need to take other people's advice. You can't do this on feeling. You have to do it with somebody who's got new ideas that aren't in the process right now. I can whip inflation for you. May not like some of it, but yeah, I can make some changes that will stop inflation from being an endemic problem. You just don't give unearned gains to rich people on a percentage basis on their salaries, and give poor people more money at equal dollar inflation bumps rather than equal percentage bumps. We'll solve inequality in about 20 years, if not sooner. So, again. History is calling, Donald. You're now considered the worst. You can be the best, but you got to listen to people who are smarter than you, but who are patriots, and are in the middle on some issues. So if you're Joe Rogan or somebody who's got an ear in that, watch the next video, and I'll tell you how Donald can get out of his legal situation, and because it's a little more complicated than we think, and if you want policy, I got that covered for you. So yes, part 2 coming.